What's up, everybody? My name is Salandia Hammond, aka Suham Baby. I'm so excited to be talking to you today about which is better, renting or owning your own home. I'm so excited that your teacher thought enough to bring me in to explain from my point of view the difference, the pros and cons. So in case you don't know, again, I am Salandia Hammond, aka Suham Baby. I'm a writer, real estate investor, author, Marine veteran, educator, and mother and grandmother. And I'm excited to be bringing you this information. But listen, let's put our hands together and let's thank your teacher for thinking enough of you to share this information. Come on, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. All right, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Here we go. Now, here is what I found to be the pros and cons to renting versus owning your own home. If you're renting a home, you know the costs that are associated with that home. There's no repairs that you have to pay for. Most times you don't have to do any maintenance, meaning you don't have to do the lawn care or anything of that sort. You don't have to pay any insurance on the property. You don't have to pay any taxes. You're just paying your rent. And sometimes your landlord will include your utilities, which are your water and your cable, in your rent. So now every month, you know what your rent is going to be. One of the most important things to renters is that they're not tied down to a 15, 20, or 30-year mortgage that they have to pay back to the bank when they buy a home. Most leases are either 30-day leases, which means they can leave the property after 30 days, 6-month leases, they can leave the property after 6 months, or a year lease, which they can leave the property after a year. And if they don't want to leave and they have a great landlord, they can renew their leases and stay another 30 days or another 6 months or another year, depending how long the lease is. So they have freedom. They can pick up and move if they expand their family. They can pick up and get a bigger house. If they're going to a new job, they can pick up and move. If they want to move closer to family, they can pick up and move. Here are some of the cons to renting. Your rent can increase. Yes, your landlord may increase your rent when they increase the lease. So if you have a 6-month lease, the landlord could increase your rent at the end of that 6 months, same thing at a year. It's just totally up to your landlord. Also, when you are renting, you don't accrue any equity. What is equity? Equity is the difference between what your home is worth and what you owe to the bank. If you're renting, you don't owe anything to the bank because you don't have a mortgage on it. You're just simply renting. So therefore, you will not accrue any equity, and equity equals wealth. Now, also, if you're renting, you're at the mercy of the landlord. If you are 5, 6, 7 days late, that landlord could evict you. Vice if you are buying a home and you have a mortgage company, sometimes the mortgage companies will defer your payments for a month, 2 months, or 3 months until you get back on your feet. Landlords don't have to do that. So if you are late and you don't strike up an agreement, they can evict you. And another sad thing is if you are living in a home, a landlord could sell that home, which could force you to move. So those are the pros and cons of renting. Now, if you're going to buy a home and you want to own your home, here are some of the great things about owning your home. You can build equity. Remember what I said equity is? Equity is the difference between what your home is worth and what you owe on it. So if your home is worth $300,000 and you have a mortgage on the bank of $100,000, the difference is $200,000, which means you have $200,000 worth of equity in your home. Now, what does that mean? That means that you could sell your home for $300,000 and make $200,000. It also means that you could go back to the bank and say, hey, I have $200,000 worth of equity in my home. I would like to refinance it and get cash, meaning take that equity that's in that home and get cash inside your bank account. It's called a refi cash out. Another pro of owning your home is that your mortgage is generally cheaper than what your rent will cost you, okay? And you get to claim tax benefits because being a W-2 employee, meaning that you go to work, you go to a job, those are the people that are taxed the highest. So if you have a home and you're paying mortgage interest, you can claim those tax deductions at the end of the year, thereby possibly reducing the amount of taxes you may owe to the government. Now, here are some of the cons of owning your own home. It comes with unexpected repairs. If a water heater busts and it costs $1,200 to put that in there, you, the homeowner, you have to pay for that. If the roof caves in and it costs 15 grand to replace that, you, the homeowner, has to pay for that. If you are renting a property, you don't have to pay for anything because the owner of that property pays for it. However, if you are owning your property, buying your property, you are responsible for all repairs. You're responsible for all expenses, which include and are not limited to insurance, utilities. If you live in a neighborhood that has HOA, homeowners association fees, you'll have to pay that. There's mortgage interest on your loan. There's property taxes and any other things that is associated with having a house, you would have to pay. You can't call your landlord and say, hey, the window's busted, can you repair it? Can't do that when you're buying, when you're owning your house. So those are just some of the cons. And another thing is you can't just easily pick up and leave. Why? Because you have a mortgage on this property. Most mortgages are 10-year mortgages, 15-year mortgages, 20-year mortgages, and 30-year mortgages. So you're tied down to this property. If you did want to leave, so let's say you got a new job, you're living in South Carolina and you got a job in North Carolina and you wanted to relocate and you didn't want this house anymore. Well, you'd have to sell this house or give it to a family member and ask them to take over the payments, or you could keep the house and rent it out to a tenant. But as you can see, it's not as easy to pick up and leave when you have a mortgage on a property. Now, I know most people will tell you that renting is a waste of time, but here's my take on renting versus owning your home, right? Whether you choose to rent or buy your home, it depends on your financial situation, your lifestyle, and your personal goals. I have a brother who is set on renting because he likes to pick up and move every year and a half. He likes to travel. He likes to get a new job. And it's easier for him if he's renting to be able to pick up and do that. Also, he doesn't want to be responsible for big repairs like windows and doors and maintenance and doing lawn care. So renting is definitely better for him. Now, either way it goes, whether you're renting or you're buying a home, they both provide you with a place to live and they require you to have regular income in order to make the payments, okay? Renting does offer flexibility, predictable monthly expenses, and someone to handle the repairs. Home ownership, however, brings intangible benefits such as a sense of stability and a pride of ownership. One of the things about owning your home is as long as you're making your monthly payments and as long as you're paying your taxes and your insurance, you don't ever have to worry about anybody evicting you. You don't ever have to worry about anybody selling the home out from underneath you. Home ownership also gives you tax deductions, and again, it builds equity, which equates to wealth. Now, renting doesn't mean you're throwing away money every month, and owning doesn't always mean you're going to build wealth in the long run. Again, it goes back to whether you, it depends on your financial situation, your lifestyle, and your personal goals. But what I want to give you is something you can do to actually build equity as well as increase your cash flow. This is an option I wish someone had taught me when I was in school. And this is something I want to teach you really, really quick if you haven't heard of it. And it's called house hacking. Let's see, let's make sure I got my slides back. There we go. It's called house hacking. House hacking means finding ways to generate income from a home. Traditionally, house hacking meant buying a multifamily property, living in one side and renting out the other so the tenants can pay the owner's mortgage and the owners build equity while maintaining the property. Now, what you see on the screen here is a duplex. This is actually my duplex. I bought it for $75,000, painted it, fixed it up, and I have a family up top with their own separate kitchen, bathroom, beds, all that stuff, their own separate interests, and a family on the bottom. And I am collecting rent from both of those families. Now, so I'm building my equity and I'm a landlord and I am providing a place for people to stay. Here's the thing. If I wanted to house hack, once one of my tenants moved out, I could actually live in one of those units and let the tenant on the bottom pay for my mortgage. I would get cash every month from the person living on the bottom while I'm living on the top, and not even having to worry about any expenses. Why? Because I'm house hacking and the person down below is paying for my expenses. And this is a duplex. So again, a duplex is a building that's divided into 2 apartments, and each has its separate interests. You could live in one and collect rent from the other. That's called house hacking and the building of the duplex, because it's 2 apartments. This is a triplex. It has 3 doors. It has 3 separate interests. It's 3 separate apartments. Imagine you building a triplex instead of building a regular single family home. You living in 1 unit, and then you having 2 units that you could charge rent on. And the money that you collect that rent from would actually pay your mortgage. You own the building and you're the landlord. Now you're not even having to pay your mortgage, because you have 2 tenants that are paying your mortgage and giving you extra money in your pocket every month. Well, what if you bought a quad? That's right. That's a 4 unit. That's a building divided into 4 apartments with 4 separate interests. That means you could live in one of the units, really, really nice, and you could have 3 tenants, and those 3 tenants are paying your mortgage and plus paying you extra money every month. So basically you are living rent free. You are a homeowner who owns the property, but you are not paying for your mortgage. Instead, your other 3 tenants are paying for your mortgage. So how awesome is that? So that is my little tidbit that I wanted to leave with you guys on renting versus owning, but also to tell you about house hacking, how you can be an owner and a landlord and not even have to pay for where you live, because your tenants will take care of it for you. If you need more information on this, guys, you can actually go Google house hacking. You can Google the difference between owning and renting. You can YouTube it. You can go to my website, moneywithrealestate.com. You can also go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Suham1974. So I would like to just thank everybody for watching this. I hope this has been beneficial to you. Many blessings to you. Take care.